Darn it, all the heck. I did. And then it gave me the option to like,
Sorry, I just noticed that.
yeah, thank you for asking. I did. I pushed it, but then it was like record to computer, and I didn't push either one. So sorry if you missed that first part, guys. I'll explain more in the rock. But welcome to the call. And today I have Kelley with me. She is a mom of 7. So holy crap, I know what you guys are thinking is how in the world is she running this business? How has she been doing it for 5.5 years? And truly maintaining and running a successful business with coaches who are motivated. She's constantly doing things with her team and helping them to have success for themselves. She is a 2-star lifetime coach, and I think this is really cool. She's earned over 6 figures in the 5.5 years that she's been a coach, and that's, you know, that's highly significant considering we're talking about someone with 7 kids. How many did you have when you started?
5.
5. Okay, so she started with 5. She's been doing this from home, and she works like 80 hours a week, right?
All the time.
So that's no, she just definitely does not work 80 hours a week. So that's what we're gonna, well, it probably accumulates to 80 if you factor in all the family time, but
Right.
no. So that's one of the things I kind of went through, some things that I wanted Kelley to share with you guys. She is a great teacher and she loves to learn. So anytime you have an opportunity to hear what Kelley has to share, if you see her pop up in the rock, just know that it is definitely valuable content and you want to pay attention. She has been through it and I know she can help you guys. So Kelley, just like a really quick, I think a lot of people know you, and also check in the rock because we do have, every now and then I'll have a coach share. And if you look in the units, there is a spot where coaches kind of share a little bit of their story. I need to get some more of those up, but there is one from Kelley, so be sure you listen to that. But just a short recap for those of you who don't know you, could you just share a little bit about who you are?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for asking me to hop on. So I am a mom of 7. I feel like that's my claim to fame. Although Angie's a mom of 9, and I don't know if I'm going to catch up. So, but I started coaching 5.5 years ago as a mom of 5. I was very stuck. My husband and I moved to Ohio from Louisiana. He's a Louisiana boy. I'm a South Carolina girl. And we got stuck in Ohio due to job moving us. And I found I was really struggling with a lot of things. Belief, self-esteem, joy as a mom. I didn't realize I was struggling. I was just kind of going through the emotions. But what I tried to control was if I could control my weight and the way I looked, I felt like it like was the one thing I could control in my life. We struggled a lot financially. My husband worked for a nonprofit and he was gone a lot. So needless to say, I had a friend that I followed on Facebook, and she had been doing the program Insanity. And she was a mom of 5 and she got really good results. And I thought, well, if she's got 5 kids and did this, then maybe I could do this. So we ordered it off the infomercial because I did not know she was a coach. And 3 payments were better than 1. Have you ever heard that? And we ordered it for Christmas. My husband and I got it. We opened it in January and I threw up after the fit test, crying. He thought it was the best thing ever. I hated Shanti. I mean, I loved him, but hated him. Finished the program and I don't know what my results were. I didn't take before photos. I didn't take measurements. I was not in photos back then because I didn't like to see myself. I don't know how much weight I lost. I have no idea, but I called my friend and said, it doesn't work. And she said, have you thought about Shakeology? And I was like, no, I eat my food. I'm not drinking some shake, like whatever. Can't export it, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I just stopped caring, and I stayed stuck. But I every once in a while would follow on Facebook. I wasn't big on Facebook, but I would see stuff she posted. And she posted in May about a 10-day challenge, trying Shakeology for 10 days. And you just could move whatever way you wanted. So I thought, oh, well, maybe I'll try that, because literally nothing was working. Like I had plateaued. I was running. I was training for races, but I just wasn't happy. And I wanted to feel better. And I did Weight Watchers, and I was tired of eating bags of carrots because they were 0 points. So I thought I'd try something different. So I jumped into this 10-day challenge. It was an investment because $55 was a lot for us, but wanted to try something different. And at the end of the 10 days, I lost like 4 pounds, but I loved the community. Like, I was in love with having coaches, or not coaches, but challengers who were in it with me. They were not perfect. They ate food like I did, and this shake that was amazing. And I struggled a lot with cravings and inflammation. And just in the 10 days, I'd noticed my cravings were going down. And all I knew was that this worked, and I had to figure out how to stay with it. So I signed up to be a coach to save money. I said, I'll never work the business. Don't ask. Like, no desire. Maybe I might convince one friend to do it with me. I kind of said that just to make Courtney say it was my husband, that it was okay to sign up as a coach. I'm like, well, maybe I can sell a few things down the road and pay for my product. But I really had absolutely no intention of ever doing that because I didn't want to be a salesperson. And my fitness journey was so private to me because I didn't want people to know I struggled. So there was no way I was going to share it publicly. I did a 90-day challenge. I was in it with Rebekah. I chose the program Les Mills Combat. 30 days in, I wanted to quit because I'd never finished anything in my life, and I just wanted to quit. Like, I told my coach, can I just quit? And she said, why? And I said, because I just don't know if this works and I get comfortable in my skin. I don't know if I can handle it, because I just realized that my comfort zone was not liking where I was. So I didn't give up. Fast forward 90 days, I lost 7 pounds. I lost like 14 inches. It was crazy, the toning my body found after 5 kids. But more importantly than that, I looked at my oldest 2, which are girls, and my husband, and realized I don't want my daughters to struggle like I do when they're grown-ups. And the only way I can do that is if I change myself. And if I could help one other woman feel this way, then it's worth it. And so that's when I decided I'm going to try a little bit of the coach thing. I didn't think I'm going to be a business builder, or I'm going to make $1 million. Like, to me, it was, if I could help a couple people, this would be awesome. So I sent out a bunch of really bad invites with links and all sorts of stuff that you're not supposed to do. One of which probably to Sarah Kroger. I didn't just send my links, y'all. I sent my link, my husband's link, a link to the Shakeology ingredients, a link to the Shakeology video. Like, I'm not kidding. It was like spam. And I sent it to like 15 people. One person was nice enough to message me back and say, no, thank you. Everyone else did not reply. And they were all family. So, and I felt a little discouraged, but I just loved it. So I wasn't going to leave. I'm loyal to a fault, so I just kept working and digging in and kind of testing the recipe, so to speak. There wasn't a lot of training back then. We got a huge packet, and I listened to talk shoe calls with Rebekah. They weren't Zoom. They were like recorded talk shoe team calls, or Summer did a talk shoe team call. Everybody was a voice. But I remember once I started to kind of dig in more into the challenge groups and lead a little more in the challenge groups, and I got my first couple challengers, I started to realize like this could be something. So I would say 6 to 8 months after signing up to coach, my husband had been gone for 2 months every single weekend doing speaking and retreats, because as working for a nonprofit, the only way to make ends meet with me not working was he had to take every extra speaking engagement possible. And I was tired of being home with 5 kids without my husband, and realized maybe I could do this and he could be home. And so it was that November that I dug in, hit Success Club for the first time, got into a Diamond in the Rough training with Summer. And I haven't stopped. I mean, so it wasn't like I've flew to the top 10, but I will tell you, like, my life has changed. I would not leave. I mean, my coach is no longer a coach. Like but I'm still connected. Like, you name it. I wanted to chew my food. I didn't want to share on Facebook. My first I didn't know how to put a photo on Facebook. I didn't know what a group was. Like, I sent the worst invites ever. I had zero belief in myself. So I think why it's taken me as long as it has to get to where I am is because God grew me into the woman he needed me to be to have the impact that I truly wanted. That's more than just a paycheck. But I was telling my coaches earlier today, but that didn't mean that the $100 paycheck wasn't like total kick butt. Like that was an awesome achievement. And I think in business, we look at the top 10 sometimes and we're like, but I don't make six figures. So what? You know how happy I was to make $50 and go on a date? Like, you know how happy I was when I could like pay someone to come clean the toilets in my house once a month? Like, it doesn't take much, but even more how happy I am that like, I've had 7 kids. I hope this is not TMI, but I can walk around in my underwear now and I'm not self-conscious. I don't walk around my whole house in my underwear, but I'm just saying, like, I used to be the one who I didn't want any, I was just so uncomfortable in my skin. And now postpartum, 7 kids, stretch marks and cellulite, I look in the mirror and I don't cringe anymore. And that's worth 7 figures to me.
So Kelley, you said something that I want to tap into because I'm in the process of listening to the 10X. You've heard, I don't know if you've read it or not. It's 10X. Did you read it yet?
I
Okay.
had it on Audible and I put it on one day in the shower and I almost had a heart attack because I felt like he was yelling at me.
Oh,
Turned
okay.
it off and I never listened to it again.
So yeah, I don't, there are certain moments of my day when I listen to it, and I don't agree and love everything he says, but there are a couple of things that like I'm going to tie 2 books together because I also just started reading Think and Grow Rich this morning.
Oh, nice.
Have you read that one yet?
No.
Okay.
I know of it.
Okay. I would definitely recommend Think and Grow Rich for everyone. The 10X rule, probably not for everyone, but I can't, the author is not coming to me. It's like an older book.
It's Napoleon Hill.
Yeah, thank you, Napoleon Hill. And I hear a lot of great leaders and successful people talk about it. So as I'm reading it, I already know by the first chapter because he tries to keep it under, like, you're supposed to like get through the book and figure out what it is that people do that brings them success. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that ties these 2 together is that they go through these disappointments and people telling them no and sending bad invites. I'm tying it into your story, but just all of these disappointments and frustrations. And whereas most of us just are like, oh, this isn't for me. I'm not having the success. I don't know how to do this. This isn't working. I don't have time. There are people like you and I who just, and I don't know how to explain it. Can you think of what it is? Because you even had the lack of belief. I feel like I've always had a belief in myself. So you even had the lack of belief. What is it that pushes you through those moments that makes you want to keep fighting even when everything's falling apart?
You know, one thing my parents have always told me is I'm too stubborn from like in a good way.
So if you have stubborn children, there's hope. This is what they turn into.
You know, like and Courtney says sometimes I'm too optimistic, but I just think I'm just being stubborn in a good way.
Yeah.
I think I just have a couple things. You know, I think number one, like I know what it's like to quit and I know what it's like to give up and I know how much it stinks to feel like a complete, like I failed because I stopped trying. I've had a lot of those moments in my life. Like I took piano for 7 years and quit. Can you imagine what would have happened if I actually stuck with it? Like I sang and I was a really good vocalist all through high school and I quit and didn't audition in college for the College Charleston Music School because I was afraid I would fail. And I never sang again until I was like in my 30s. And what would have happened? And I you know, or even with our kids, like I know it sounds crazy, but like when Courtney and I had to start having more kids, what would life be like if we said no to one more life? Like I don't want to have those question marks anymore if I can control it. Because to me, the question marks suck.
Yeah.
They really suck when it's like, I could have or should have. I don't want any more should have or could have.
I agree. Yeah.
You know, and I don't want my kids to do that. And so I'm willing to fall on my face a little more. But the other thing about it is you have to have people around you that will help you when you fall on your face and remind you why you're not giving up. Because there are days that I really my belief starts to dip and I can like text Sarah and say, I need help today. Like I feel this. I know it's not true, but you can't ignore the mean girl, the lie, the excuse. You can't ignore it, because I think the other part of that is that I've learned to battle it more. And something that I've kind of realized this past week is like, we're so afraid of failing that we completely discount how strong we are, and I think people told this to me at least for the last year. And so now I keep reminding myself, like, if I could birth 7 children, I can build a successful business. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
and if she can birth 7 children and build a successful business, then I know that you guys can dig deep and find something in you to keep pushing.
Yeah, but I think, but that's different seasons. There's been seasons that I slowed down. Like Tracy Morrow helped me with that. With my first trimester in pregnancies, I slowed down. And then after having a baby, I sped up. So but I don't want to have one of those, I didn't give it my all. And I think for this, it was like being invested in other people helps you, because I was left as a kid, like my parents split when I was 5, and that stunk. And I don't ever want anyone else to feel that way. So that's kind of helped me be committed to the process, because I'm committed to my team, and I'm committed to my challengers, and I'm committed to the growth. But the flip of that is I've had to learn to put boundaries around that commitment, because it's also not on me. I used to carry everyone on my back all the time, and that slowed me down. So I just think I'm too stubborn to quit. Like I tell my coaches, I'm that Care Bear coach that blows sunshine in your face some days. And then I had, like because I've been left, and I don't want to do that to someone else. But at the same time, the hard lesson is I've had to learn sometimes the boundaries part of it, and the challenging people to grow, and the hard part of like holding my coaches accountable. If you have a goal of this and you're not doing it, like I can't help you. But that's all helped me be a better wife and mom.
Yeah. Absolutely. So speaking of being a wife and mom, can you give us some, sorry, I shouldn't have picked up my pencil when I started that. Can you give us some tips of how it is that you manage? Because I'm first of all, you didn't start with 7 kids.
No.
You didn't start the business with 7 kids. So there is a progression there. But I know for a lot of us, like, we have no kids or 2 kids, and like we look at someone like you and we're like, how in the heck is she doing this with so many kids when I can't keep things together and I have 2? So anything that has helped you kind of create that space in your day where you're managing things but not letting it overtake your life?
Yeah. Well, I'd say number 1, 2 kids is harder than 7.
I agree.
I'm being honest. I have 2 at home during the day and 5 are in school. And the hardest part of my day is when I just have 2, because when you have 7, you have a lot more hands. I did not grow up in a big family, so that's something I've learned. But I'll tell you that planning is huge. I plan every Sunday my week, and I try my best to plan unplugged time. Because as much as I like to say my office hours are every day from 10 to 12, some nights the baby's up and some mornings I have a kid sick or this or that. So my office hours might need to shift. So in the last year, last year to this year, school year, I'm trying to focus on being more unplugged during sessions of the day, and then available in other times of the day, which is a struggle of mine. Not because I'm working, more just because when I'm done with work, I have to realize, like, I'm done with work. I don't need to pick up my phone and scroll. Something that's really helped me is I have an office. I work here in my office. My laptop stays in my office. My lists stay in my office. So even if I want to work on my phone, it's not very productive. I've set it up to not be able to be productive so that it forces me to come down here in my office. And then it also helps because when I'm done, I'm done. Like, I can leave and close the door. Talking to my husband about my goals, like last fall when we did the push with Josh Coates, he knew I was going to need more time, and he was okay with me signing up for that. So I worked more last fall than I normally do, but we were on the same page, and he was okay with helping more with the kids. There were seasons where I did not communicate my goals to him, and I just did it, and he would get ticked off because he was having to juggle the kids, and that was wrong. And we learned, and I had to communicate that to him, and but I think having office hours, having an office space, Putting boundaries around it, around your time is important. Don't compare yourself to other people, but at the same time, if you're working your business more because you have bigger goals, there's nothing wrong with that either. Like, don't feel ashamed of that either. I used to be embarrassed to talk about that I worked 2 to 3 hours a day. Why? Like, if you don't want to, don't work 2 to 3 hours a day. I want to, you know what I mean? But there have been seasons where it was an hour. I could only do an hour, and that's okay too. But I think, but I would say, planning, having an office space, unplugged time, like this is my family time, which I said that's what I'm really working on. I'm not good with that. That's my weakness. And then the last one, which you said at the beginning, is tracking. You got to track your stuff. So that way you can put it down and not spend your first half hour of your power hour trying to figure out where you left off.
Absolutely. I mean, and it's only been since October that I've been like, yes, tracking, there's non-negotiable, like you got to do it. In fact, I kind of made a pact, like I'm not, until coaches show me that they're tracking somewhere. I don't care if you don't use ours, but until you're tracking somewhere, I can't even talk to you because I don't know how to help you.
Yeah.
So I want to go back to something, because you've mentioned belief more than once, and that tends to be a topic a lot in things you post about. So just kind of tell us a little bit about where you came from belief. And I know you talked about it a little bit in the beginning, but just what the things that you have done, because most coaches struggle with belief and fear. And I know you face those big time. That's a big part of your story. So if you can help them, kind of give them some pointers of things that you've done that have helped you overcome.
Yeah. Well, gosh, that's a big one. Therapy.
Yeah.
No.
Well, honestly, if you guys are reading Girl Wash Your Face with us, that's our January book this month. She talks about like the importance of having someone to talk to. Don't just dump it on your spouse.
No, yes. So, I think that for me, belief, a lot of it comes from, and I would say, so my team is Freedom Family. And the reason it used to be Team Freedom, we changed it to the Freedom Family this last year, is because when it says in like scripture, like, I sought the Lord and he answered me and delivered me from all my fears, which to me is what freedom is. My faith is like the foundation of what gives me belief. So to me, my journey was learning to accept that I was loved and worthy of it. And so the crazy part was with the business, or even with challenge groups, I started out trying to fix my body, but what happened was I discovered myself. And like, I didn't fix my body. I still don't have a 6-pack. I'll never have a 6-pack, but because you cannot consistently do the things you have to do to be healthy if you don't love yourself, because you'll either hate yourself and then give up, or you'll shift your focus and say, I don't want to beat my body up anymore. So I think part of it was like, doing these programs mentally were hard. I had to push myself. Even now, I cry sometimes at the end of my workouts because I'm not an athletic, strong, super duper. I mean, I'm getting muscles, but it's not like, so it's hard for me. I think for belief, like, you need to know why you're doing this. You need to know where you're going. My aha, I was kind of floundering through it for the first couple years. I was reading all the books and showing up for all the stuff, and I loved being around everyone. But in the back of my head, the lie was, you really don't belong here. You snuck in the back door. Like, I believed I was the coach that kind of accidentally got the invite, and then everyone was just being nice to me to be nice. And that's really crooked thinking, but that was what was in the back of my head. And when I was at a retreat, so events were a huge part for me, getting to events. Even when I didn't feel like I belonged, I still showed up because I felt like, if this is what people do to grow, I got to do it. So at first it was just following what others did. But I was at a retreat, and Summer had asked the question, like, if you couldn't fail, what would you do? And people were going around the room. One said, like, I'd be a best-selling author. One said, I'd be a professional singer. One person's like, I would be like a professional model. One person said, I'd be like a CEO, blah, blah, blah. And it got to my turn, and I said, I'd be a peaceful wife and mom. And I felt, after I said it out loud, I felt like what ran through my head is like, you are so soft. Like, these people have these powerful, like, I'm going to, be she woman. And you just want to be like this squishy little, but because that's what my head did. But I was like, no, I finally stood up to myself and said, like, that's BS. Like, I've been plagued with anxiety most of my life, and I just want to be a peaceful wife and mom. And that year, my business blew up because I got clear on where I was going. Like, I worked to be a peaceful wife and mom. I developed myself as a leader. I dug into Maxwell books and trainings and everything else, but I actually started to change the way I thought. I wrote affirmations. I started to read affirmations. Even though I thought they were stupid, I did them because that's what people did. And it worked. I started keeping a record of the things I did well because I was really good at writing down all the things I did wrong. And now even when I start to slip, I will do it again. I pick up my journal and in the morning I write, what did I do well? I made my bed. I got dressed. I fed my son. I mean, it's not like it's the little things. I got surrounded by people that I could trust would not lie to me. And that really loved me for me because they saw my broken side, and I had a lot of people say, like, I wish you could see me the way I see you. And that used to be really hard to hear because I wanted to see it too. But I knew the only way to get there was to keep working on me. So I have been in therapy. I go in and out of it. I work through the negative in my head. I do a mindfulness journal. I work hard on my mindset, y'all, because I saw perfectionism in my oldest 4 kids, especially my second son that has special needs. He has anxiety, and it's kind of kicked in from perfectionism at 8. And I realized, like, I have to undo it in myself with help if I want to help him be free. And then what that did is it gave me a mission for my challenge groups and my coaches, because we were very similar. You attract what you are. And I used to be afraid of attracting what I was because I didn't know if I could help them. But now I'm thankful because we can sharpen each other. So it's a lot of heart work.
Yeah.
And I mean, and I think the biggest thing is to not be afraid to be vulnerable. I'm reading this Dare to Lead book by Brene Brown right now. And people are going to think you're crazy there's a difference with being like vulnerable for the sake of drawing attention to yourself, and then vulnerable for the sake of like authentically trying to heal. And
right.
we see people share stuff just for the sake of trying to get validation. And that sometimes makes the rest of us never want to share anything that we're going through because we don't want anyone to think that. But that's a lie. And so if you have like coaches in your corner that you can say, like, this is the lies, these are the mean girl that, things in my head, and then you write your affirmations and you read them, you still need to have somebody that you can say, that chick is loud today. And like Sarah, I texted her, I'm blind as a bat without my glasses. She'll say, put your glasses on, which means go read my affirmations, because I'm walking around like this because I'm listening to the negative. And I'm not saying you can't be successful in this business, like, and not work on the heart, but I think you'll get to the top and be unsatisfied, So
Yeah.
I'd rather take my time and be happy than.
That's awesome. Yeah, I always bring this up, but my husband has always said, even if coaches come into this and they don't do the inviting and the posting, but they will do the personal development and the workouts and just the bare minimum, there's no way at the end of a year, if they're doing those things, they aren't going to become better people, which will lead into other things. Yeah. All right, so last thing I want to close on, the word arise. That is your word of the year, and I've encouraged people in The Rock to come up with the word of the year rather than setting a bunch of, or maybe not rather than, but like making that a big part of your goals, because what it does is it kind of sets the stage for what you intend on making your year look like for 2019. So you chose arise. Will you tell us why?
Yeah. So my word, be careful what your word is. By the way, like last year my word was made new, and I was like, I'm going to bust out and have all of this like awesome growth. And instead God was like, to be made new, you have to die to self first. So it was a year of like, it was all good. So at the end of the year last year, the scripture, most my words a lot of times come through prayer, and it was from when Jesus told the little girl to rise up, like that she was asleep, and he said, "Little girl, I say to you, arise." And it was because the year before that, my scripture came from Revelation, which talked about, "Behold, I make all things new." And then the last part of that is, "These words are trustworthy and true." So last year, I felt like was God calling me to trust His word, that even if I didn't, I'm getting emotional, even if I didn't see it was possible, if He said it was possible, His word means way more than my belief, and I needed to lean on it. And I did. It was a hard year, y'all. Like, it was a hard, good, hard year of growth. So this year I felt, last year, I don't know how many times, like Sarah and I talk a lot, if you can't tell. And we were talking about, she said, it's like Lazarus. Like, you just got to come out of the tomb, Kelley. You just got to come out of the tomb. And I'm like, but I just want to stay in my comfort zone. And in this business, I have a big goal this year of our team hitting 5-star. And then eventually at the end of the year, I have laid on my heart to be a 10-star combined team. It's literally on my heart. Like, okay, so I'll say it. And I felt like this year, God wants me to have that childlike trust in Him. Like, rise up daily, follow me, like abide in me. So that's kind of the word that goes with it. It's like arise and abide, and just trust Him. Like, I just trust Him. Like, I do what He tells me to do. I walk where He tells me to walk. So my prayer the last couple mornings have just been like, just direct my steps. When I sit down and do my power hour and I don't know who to invite, can you just direct my steps? And when I'm with my kids in the afternoon, direct my steps. Cause I don't want anything to be like empty. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to have a team that's full. Like, I want my coaches to hit diamond, but also be like shining on the inside. So I felt like He called me this year to, like, last year was being made new, and it's this year it's kind of like rising up as that little girl, as a new little girl, like reborn in a sense, and following Him. So
Perfect. Thank you. So, as I'm sitting here listening to Kelley, and yesterday I tuned into the National Wake Up Call, I worry sometimes telling coaches to go tie into the National Wake Up Call, because I feel like, especially if you're stuck in the struggle of the comparison, and you hear, the top coach signed up over 900 coaches last year. Like, to me, I'm not even going to go there, but I don't understand how that is physically possible. But what Kelley does is possible. What I do is possible. And I remember as a new coach hearing Doug Fitzgerald talk about building deep and wide. And I feel like we're getting better in the network, but for a while it was just like, go as hard as you can, build as many as you can, get your mom signed up and your grandma signed up and everybody, and build them to diamonds. And we know that will not hold. And so when you build like Kelley has, and you work on yourself, and you help your team develop as a team, and you love them where they're at, and you just keep trusting the process, then you're going to have that level of success. So this is what I want you guys to look at and think about, what's possible when you feel, like you can't have it, or like you're losing belief. This is what it truly is. And I think any of us would be excited, even if it took 5.5 years to open up our paycheck and see $1,000 in there, when we've just committed 2 to 3 hours a day to our work and had the freedom to spend with our family. Like, I mean, Kelley, you're not fired. Your baby just walked in on our meeting and you are not fired. How cool is that?
He's not even like expose me. He's like, wants the news.
Nice. All right. Thanks so much, guys, for joining the call. Thank you, Kelley, for agreeing to do this on somewhat short notice. You guys have a great afternoon, and feel free to post any questions in the rock for Kelley. I know she'll be sure, and I will put this recording in there too.
Thanks, Rebekah.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.